Hello, Guardians, and welcome to the Destiny IT Pros podcast, brought to you by FrontPoint IT, Utah's premier managed services provider. Find us online at frontpoint-it.com. Hello, Guardians. It is Wednesday, September 16th, 2015. Yesterday, we had an arrival in our solar system of the Dreadnought outside the rings of Saturn, which has brought many changes to the way that we play our game and the way that we do everything in our little world now, I guess, right?
Oryx, the Taken King, is here. The new DLC, or as we like to call it, Destiny 2.0, is here and has arrived. It got here yesterday. We got to spend some time playing it, and thought we would talk about our thoughts and any insights we've come up with.
So as always, we are your hosts. My name is Jeremy Wright, and I go by the gamertag IT Outlaw. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube by the same gamertag or username.
I'm Dan Stanford. I go by Mutant Entree, and I don't know about any of those social media things.
So let's dig into it. So Dan, right off the bat, what are the first things that you noticed about the Taken King?
It's pretty epic. The storyline is back. That's one thing I've been complaining about, and I think it is a welcome return to some good old storyline. The cinematics are just absolutely beautiful. All the way around, it just feels like, I don't know. To me, I don't want to derail your thoughts here, Jeremy, but it seems like year one was almost like a beta test.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people have been saying. And by story being back, do you mean it exists, like, at all?
Yeah. Well, there's that lawsuit. There was a lawsuit by some dude against Bungie, who I guess did the music or something to that effect. I guess people get out there and figure out the names and all that. But
Marty
whatever.
O'Donnell, I believe, was his name.
Yeah. And he stated that like 2 weeks or 2 months prior to its original launch, which would have been spring, they completely waxed the storyline and redid it from ground up, and which consequently delayed Destiny until the fall.
Right.
And so it seems like there was a crew working on Destiny. They were putting it together. They had this big epic thing, and then just something completely went and fell apart. Just everything just collapsed. They freaked out. They said, you know what, Bungie, we have no other product. We got to get this thing out there. They put it together, and it's a great game, obviously. We are podcasting about it. It is very much our favorite game. But now it's like, okay, they've had a year to straighten everything out and really put the game together the way that they wanted it, or this new crew wanted the game to be, and it is absolutely fantastic. It's wonderful.
Yeah, the cinematics are much longer, and they go into details now, and you kind of get a little more depth of the characters. For instance, right now you get a lot of Cade Six, the Hunter Vanguard, who is kind of like this sarcastic, almost like an Old West type character. I feel like that's the air that they've given him, is he's like, oh, I'm this Old West gunslinger, and I'm sarcastic. I don't care about anybody else, and he makes fun of Eris all the time, and she's super melodramatic now, and he keeps making fun of her, which is good. It's good to see the cinematics. It's good to see our storyline progressing somewhere, and you're getting a little bit of history, and then the quests are there as well to kind of tell you a little bit about how these things came to be, I guess.
Yeah, and it's very cool. I noticed when doing like the story missions, you would have Eris, you would have Cade, you'd have that Vanguard Doodah, Zavala, and even your ghost all talking to you as you were doing the mission, and that is unprecedented.
Yeah,
to have that many voice characters and and AIs in the game, or sorry, NPCs in the game talking to you.
Yeah, so that's a big change. It's a welcome change as well, except for the things that you've already done. You don't really want to hear the story on them again, but now you have a skip button, so you can skip past them. So that is fantastic. They're also trying to tie up a lot of the older things that you've had questions about, except for, well, we haven't finished a quest yet, so we don't know where it leads us to.
Okay.
But I did notice in one of the quests you find out about Praedyth, of Praedyth's Revenge.
Yes,
and
which I
other
haven't been there yet. But
pieces
yeah.
of gear. You find that out, what happened to him, as well as Kabir, the Trial of Kabir, which is a section in the Vault of Glass that you're going through. You find out their fate and what happened to them and who they were a little bit. Not really a comprehensive history, but you get an insight into what happened and what was going on in that situation, which is better than anything we've ever had before. So the storyline is much better. We all anticipated that, I guess.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you always hope. You know, I was holding out that they would pull it off, and they definitely have. The game feels more epic, and you know, if you guys have started the Taken King, if you start playing, you start to very quickly realize that essentially your character is starting over. I mean, all of your gear is just trash. You don't necessarily break it down immediately. Don't take my word for it. But within, 10, 15 minutes of playing, you're finding common and uncommon goods that are better than your exotics that you had before.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very quickly, you are unloading everything out of your off of your character and just ditching it into inventory at a minimum, you know, just to make room for all the new stuff.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I realized, and all of my my fears and my hesitation about the Taken King kind of went away. I was really worried about, like, oh man, I'm not going to have Fatebringer anymore. I'm not going to have Gjallarhorn anymore. But honestly, I kind of forgot about them. I dropped them into the vault after probably a few hours after I had gear that was at least, let's see, what, I think at least 20 or 30 higher attack value than them.
Yeah, about 190.
I just
is about where it starts.
Put them in the vaults because they're in the way of getting the other stuff. I mean, I was picking up engrams left and right, starting with commons, and then we noticed that the type of engrams you got were highly dependent on what level you were.
Yes, big time. Yep, we would be. We had a third guy with us when we were playing, and he started out a little bit before us and was at a higher light level when we began playing the game. Yeah, and he was picking up engrams, you know, just, you know, uncommons and even rares and that were 205, while we were picking up 190s doing the exact same thing. So it was. It appears the game engine is very aware of your character and where you're at, and tries to make sure that you get drops that are appropriate to where you are.
Worked really well too. I was surprised.
Yeah.
So what happened was those two had a bunch of bounties that they'd worked on prior to the release of the Taken King, and they were holding on to them for the XP boost.
Yep.
I was lazy and did not do that. So they instantly were around
38. I went from 34 to 38, completing 10 bounties immediately. Just went
and
right
using
on
a
up.
focus light, right?
Yes, with focus light. Yes, true.
And I was at 34, and we all did the missions at the same time. I did not do any bounties. I just used a focus light, and by the last two missions, I was already at 40. And then through a little bit of grinding over the evening, I was able to get to 230.
Your light level,
my
230.
light level, 230, yes.
Yeah.
With mostly uncommon gear, except for I have a legendary hand cannon that is quite good, and then I have my sword that I was hoping for.
Now, you have rare stuff. You've got legendary and rare.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
sorry.
think, you
Blue's
didn't have any
rare,
greens.
Yeah, no greens anymore.
Oh.
So I feel like it's the same progression that we had prior to 20.
Yeah.
Where you pick up something and you look at it, oh, this has a higher attack value. Scrap the other stuff. Unless it's something you absolutely have to have. But you don't feel bad about it anymore because it's blues and greens, and so you're like, whatever, I'll just... Although I'm kicking myself in the foot, I'm like, I should have saved that stuff and given it to my other characters. Because they're still at 34. I haven't brought them up to 40 yet. So I'll need to give that back to them and help them come up. But at the same time, the gear you get scales, so it's quite good. It's really easy to find the gear.
Yeah, and that you know, the uncommon, the green gear and stuff like that has level requirements like 38 and junk like that too.
Yes.
So yeah, it's kind of, you know, just go play. I that's the biggest thing that, you know, I've been beaten over the head with in the last day is just play. Yeah. Play the game, and you will get the things that you need when you need them, and your character can progress just fine.
Although I think we're going to be in the exact same spot that we were prior to House of Wolves and Taken King. So House of Wolves was easy to get to the level cap.
Yeah, get to 34.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now our level cap is 40 for the experience, which is mostly just a... That worked well.
Uh-oh. Hang on. I'll turn it on. You keep going, Jeremy.
We have motion sensor lights, and we have a new setup, so there it goes. We'll have to remember that now. So for those of you listening to the podcast, our lights went out in here, and it was difficult to see because it was the motion sensors went out. Anyways, so prior to the Taken King House of Wolves, we're going to be stuck again, where you were stuck at a certain point, where you're stuck at 27 or 28 or 29 until you completed endgame material to get that gear. So we're going to be level 40 experience. Sure, great. That makes everybody happy. Oh, we got the level cap. I don't think there's a hard level cap on light level other than the ability to get gear that is even higher. The Bungie just can release gear that is a higher light level, and that'll allow you to increase that. Otherwise, they're not going to. There's no hard limit there, I don't think. It's just a matter of what is available to actually level you up.
Doing some digging, we've been able to find that there are exotics out there that start at light level 290.
310.
310?
Yeah, the swords start at 310, the ones we were looking at. And that's on Bungie's
database. Oh, that's
database.
right. I was thinking armor, but yes, you're right. So 310. So we know at least the top is there at 310, but even at that, you can, still upgrade the gear by breaking down another legendary?
But it have to be a higher thing, though. So you'd have to have something higher. That's how the infuse works, yeah. You have to have a higher damage value on that piece to make that one stronger.
Oh, okay.
To absorb it or whatever.
So yeah, like you said, I mean, your character level itself doesn't seem to really do much anymore. It applies to your ability to do, quests and strikes and stuff like that, and then to use gear, you have to be level 40 to use the exotic gear and stuff. But other than that, that's about it. It's really about light level. Your light level is the determining factor on how hard you hit, which leads me to a thought I had. Previously, when we would play it, if you started a strikeout or a story mission or something like that, and the guys were 2 character levels above you, you knew how hard of a fight it was that you were getting into. But now, you don't know what light level the enemies have compared to you. You know what character level they are, so, oh great, those guys are level 41 and I'm level 40, but that really doesn't mean anything. And so the story missions and the strikes and all that say, recommended light level and stuff like that, and that's all good and fine, but, like doing raids and the like, when the new raid comes out, it really... When you're aiming down your gun and you're looking at a bad guy, you can't see his light level, and you can't know, okay, that guy is 30 light levels above me or 20 below me. You don't have that sense of how hard is that dude actually going to hit me right now.
And that begs the question. So the Vanguard Heroic Strikes and the Weekly Nightfall playlist are level 41. The raid's probably going to be 41 as well, but does that mean that we have our 30% debuff, I guess, 30% damage decrease?
No, according to the newsletter that Bungie put out last week, it is all about your light level. Your light level is the determining factor on how hard you hit. It's not about your character level anymore.
I imagine we could probably test it somehow.
Yeah, that's true.
Or at least give us an idea of... So do you think the recommended light level then on the matches or the missions, so if it says recommended light level 190, if you're at 190, does that mean all the enemies are 190? That would be my guess, is if it says recommended light level 250, all the enemies are going to be at a 250 light level.
Probably, yeah.
So we could probably go into it. We could take 2 characters, one at a lower light level, and do like the precision shots with the same guns and stuff, and try to see if we can get some kind of mathematical value for that. I'm sure some nerd out there is already on top of it. If you are, please let us know, because that'd be interesting to see. So then you can do what you're talking about, and you can figure out, how is this going to affect my play style in this particular match? Do I really need to be worried about it, or do I not? I mean, obviously it's not going to be, if they're 1 light level above you, that's a 30% thing, because that'd be impossible for that scale.
Agreed. Yeah.
probably more like a 10 base type thing.
I would guess, yeah, a 10-point scale.
Yeah.
So for every 10 points or above you, it's a significant, penalty, or it's, significantly you hit harder. But one thing that it kind of occurs to me too is, why is Bungie even bothering to put these events at level 41? Why even bother? I don't know, just so that it looks cool.
Yeah, exactly. The psychological factor
Yeah.
of, oh man, we're going into a 41. We're only 40s, man.
Oh, this is gonna be rough.
But that's what's fun about doing Skolas and doing the endgame material level above you, is that you're at a disadvantage going in, and you feel that much more powerful when you come out of it. Of those guys were better than me, but we bested them.
Well, if you look at the Nightfall and the weekly strike. Strikes, which we'll have Jeremy go over here in just a moment. They're all character level 41.
Yeah.
Yet the Nightfall is light level recommended 280, the weekly 260, and then the daily, which again is also level 41, light level 240. So yeah, I mean the level 40, the character level stuff is kind of like, Anyway, yeah, go over the...
Yeah, our strikes are kind of weird. They don't give us an actual strike. It's just a playlist.
Really?
So it said Vanguard Heroic Strike playlist, level 41. And then we have the weekly Nightfall playlist, level 41. And then it says Epic, Small Arms, Juggler, Grounded, and Ironclad are the modifiers for the weekly Nightfall playlist.
Ironclad.
More enemies have shields. So that paired with Epic basically just means that everything has a shield, and it's going to suck.
Yeah.
Small Arms, Juggler, and Grounded. Yeah, these are... Because now with Nightfall, we don't get booted to orbit if you die. I believe they just added the 30-second countdown timer to the revive timer.
Correct. That's my understanding. Yeah.
So they've made it more challenging, but also less risky. You don't get booted to orbit, and there's that. So that's a lot better. And then also your gear is tuned differently now. You can find gear that has like decreased damage against solar, take less damage from solar attacks, take less damage from arc, etc. Which means like, we're going into a arc burn, weekly Nightfall. So I'm going to stack all of my gear that has the arc burn buff on it, and then I will be able to take a little bit less damage from the arc, that kind of a thing, which is a cool thing they did.
Oh, by the way, I've gone on for weeks wondering how the leveling system works. Taking your character up in level, and what the crazy little bar is along the bottom with the little light level symbol and all that. So experience takes your character level up to 40, and then it is your gear, your armor, and your weapons. The average of all those is your light level. And that little bar along the bottom, once you hit 40, that continues to go up, your little light level bar down there. When you reach the end of that, you get a mode of light. Your light level does not change at all because it is purely based on your gear. So yeah, we were getting motes of light before. Mm-hmm. When you capped out at say 34 and you kept going, you'd kill some silly little alkalite, and boom, you get a mode of light. So that mechanism was in the background before. Now they just have a little bar there showing it to you.
Yeah, so if you're really excited about motes of light, you can now track them as you're going. Yep. We still don't have a compelling reason to use motes of light.
I haven't found it.
Other than to do like base material exchanges, or no, you don't need that anymore. It's to buy stuff from the speaker. If you want to get his legendary 280 class items, it requires 25 motes of light, which if you don't have, stop playing.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a few hundred of them, I think.
Well, other impressions. Cade is definitely awesome. I swear, the skins on the characters, on the bad guys, and stuff like that are more detailed. I swear they've put more effort into that stuff. When you walk up and you look at someone, even your own character, the walls, I swear they look better. I might be out of my mind on that, though.
I think they look the same.
Or maybe it's the who is it? Is it Jon Stewart that does the iPhone thing where he messes with people's heads?
Oh, Jimmy Kimmel.
Is it Jimmy Kimmel?
Yeah.
He takes the current iPhone and takes it to people and tells them it's the new one, and they just start flipping out. Oh, this is way better. Oh my gosh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. Maybe it's just me expecting bigger and better, and me seeing it when it's not really there. I don't know.
I didn't really pay attention. I don't know. Maybe things do look better. There's probably small changes in like texture packs and things like that they did, I'm sure. Which
watching
pay attention. Yeah, I don't.
Watching the stream, they did mention the character. You know, if you look very, very closely when he's walking up and down stairs, that the movement of your character is correct with the stair steps, and is a little bit bigger. And one of the Bungie guys mentioned that, so that's where it kind of leads me that maybe they did work on some of these details. But
I felt like the running was different from third person when you're in the tower or with the sword. I feel like they changed the way the Guardian runs, like the movement somehow
very
made
well.
it feel like heavier. Like the character model looks heavier than they did before. Whether or not it makes any difference, I don't know, but that's really annoying.
All right, well, let's talk about, I'll turn the light back on here in a moment. Yeah, we got to resolve that. We worked on our studio here, and we're trying to fix the sound in that, but apparently now we've messed up the lights. So one step forward and two back, I guess.
Yeah.
Jeremy, let's talk about what have we learned? What advice? What bits of goodies can we impart?
Well, the quests are super complicated now and very confusing to me. I'm not quite sure. I really hate the mechanic of quest completed, go talk to this person, and then they give you another quest, or they tell you to go talk to somebody else. That is a really big waste of time to me, and I really hate doing that, but that's how everything works now. So you have your quest tracking screen, which tells you where all of your quests are, and then what you need to do to complete them, more or less, depending on the quest. Some of them are very vague and don't help very much. But when you complete the quest, it does give you a specific reward at the end of it, like a legendary item or armor upgrade or something along those lines, which is helpful. Basically, you need to do the story missions, all of them, and then start working on the other quests. Or, I mean, break it up if you want to. But when you do the story missions, you're going to have better gear to allow you to do the other things. The Dreadnought, there's a lot to explore there. There's lots of weird stuff going on in there. Like I was showing you some of the things I found last night, this morning.
Yeah, lots of weird little, you need this and that to open these chests that are all over the place. And
Yeah.
all sorts of nooks and crannies and little puzzles to sort out. And that's one whole evening of playing.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeremy's found all that.
I'm going to assume that as you complete more of the quests and other things, those things will become more apparent where to find those, or you'll get them as a reward. As in, like, oh, here's this key, or here's this rune or something, and you're going to be like, oh, that makes more sense. Now I know where that chest is to go open it up. Like I found, so right when you come into the mausoleum from where you spawn in the Dreadnought.
The big open room where the Cabal are fighting, yeah.
So you spawn in there into the, not the mausoleum, the breach is what they call it there, where the Cabal ship has crashed and infiltrated the Dreadnought.
Yes.
If you run underneath that ship through, you go to the mausoleum.
It's a little over the right on the
so
map.
kind of like
you
a
come
little
around.
underground thing. You go through there. Right there, there's a fight with like a Taken that happens. And it's a yellow bar Taken that eventually comes. You kill a few of the minions, and then a yellow bar Taken comes. I watched people do that, and every single time they got a legendary thing from it.
Nice.
So the first time I did it, I got Agonarch's rune, which is a rune that's used to open a chest over in the Founts area of the Dreadnought. So I found that in order to complete the rune, you have to defeat 7 of the hidden Taken enemies inside the Dreadnought. I got 1 out of 7 somehow. I don't know where the other 6 are. But I watched other people do it, and they were getting keys, and they were getting other random things. Like they would get the key of air, or the key of Ak was one of them. Just random names. I'm sure they whatever, like, you know, hive people and whatnot. So go do that. Go kill that guy. Go start that little fight there. Get that over with, and you'll get a legendary piece. And then then you have to find the chest. I'm sure there's going to be resources online. I'm sure there's already resources online of the people who found this stuff, and that will be interesting to see what we come up with there.
Lots of stuff, and just like you said, just play, just Play the game. My bit of advice is legendary marks. How in the world do we find legendary marks? So you get them by completing, and I've got a little list here, daily story chapters. So the daily event, if you will, the daily mission, the weekly heroic strikes, the daily PvP activities, the weekly PvP activities, which we haven't seen yet. We haven't, or have we seen the weekly? Maybe it's not the daily that we're missing. There's only one there. That much I know. There's only one
those
PvP.
Are daily, because yesterday it was Rift and today it's Salvage.
Oh, okay, so we haven't seen the weekly yet.
Bounties is what they're referring to. The weekly bounties, probably.
No, it says weekly PvP activities.
Oh,
yeah. And then, of course, by dismantling year 2 legendary items. So let me make that clear. It has to be a Taken King legendary item. You break that bad boy down, and then you will get legendary marks. And, of course, you need legendary marks to, say, purchase year 2 exotic equipment that you already own. You need legendary marks to buy, say, engrams from the Cryptarch, which you did.
correct. Yes.
Last night. And then what did you give for it?
I got an exotic, year 2 exotic, the Crest of Alpha Lupi. So that's year 1 version. I got the year 2 version of a year 1, and it's 290 defense is the base stat on it to start
Right off
out.
the bat.
I don't know if that's true for all the exotics that you'll get, but that's the. And I bought the chest engram for 60 or 70 legendary marks. I was able to
Nice.
get 70 or 60 or 70 marks, whichever it was, in like 3 or 4 missions, and doing the Crucible for 1 round of Rift. We were just messing around, and yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I felt kind of dumb about. I noticed last night that the PvP, and it said, you get like 15 legendary marks for doing it, and I thought, okay, no, I'm going to do something else. You just go in there, for someone like me, just go get wrecked for 15 minutes, and voila, you get 15 legendary marks. I can do that.
And that's daily too.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yep.
kind of a no-brainer on that one.
You combine that with the daily story mission, and you're just grinding out legendary marks just off of those 2 activities alone, very simply.
Some of the quests as well will have it. So you have to look at the bottom of the quest for the legendary marks. Thing there, to get the legendary marks, it'll tell you the reward there to be able to do that. You'll also get them probably from packages, I would assume, as well. Like your Dead Orbit, Future War Cult, New Monarchy packages, or Vanguard.
Oh, I can see
I
that.
would assume that they would be in there. I'm not positive, though. I did notice that the speaker is still doing Ascendant shards and Ascendant energy.
I noticed that too.
I'm wondering what the reason is behind that.
I don't know.
Makes me nervous. I'm not going to get rid of my shards yet.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to get rid of any gear, if you will.
But remember, you said that you had to be Ascendant to get through the portal. I'm wondering if the gear from it's called from the King's Fall raid is going to have to use Ascendant shards and Ascendant energy.
Well, that would really mess with people.
That's
That'd
why
be
they
funny.
haven't. I doubt it, but I'm just saying that this seems really odd. The speaker is still doing that exchange. Is Eris still doing the exchange for the Radiant stuff? I didn't check.
I didn't check either.
Because
I'm not sure.
all that gear is absolutely obsolete. I'm not wearing a single piece of year 1 gear anymore at all.
No.
Zero.
No,
Nothing.
I held on to it, and I kind of fought it, and then it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Why?
Mm-hmm.
And then I just swapped everything out, and yeah, everything on my character now is just year 2 stuff. I mean, I'm still holding on to it. I still kind of in the back of my mind wonder if some of the PoE stuff, Prison of Elders stuff, might be worth holding on to when you're doing Prison of Elders. But as I mentioned to you, it really begs the question, why?
Yeah, the gear that you have now is higher defense stats anyways. So
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah. Why?
Is-
Why?
Do you think anybody is going to be doing Prison of Elders at all anymore?
I think other than, just to go have some fun and to say that you've done it and the like, I can't imagine why you would want to keep going. I mean, of course, there's Skolos. So kind of the same reason, why would you do Vault of Glass and that. Well, just for the challenge. But as far as just going out and doing good old PoE, I don't know, maybe we ought to do it. Let's go see what drops we get. Would we get a year 2 drops?
No.
I'm just...
You'd be getting just the PoE drops. Same way like with the raids, when you did Vault of Glass, you didn't get any of the Crota's End drops. You just got Vault of Glass drops.
You'd still get
and it was still at the year 1, or still at the pre-DLC values as well.
Yeah, the Queen type gear.
Yeah, you can get the exotics now as just a random drop from the chests. You don't have to beat Skolas for that anymore, I don't think. If you want a year 1 exotic that's not upgradable. What other, do we learn any other weapons that were upgradable into year 2? I don't think so. I think we knew already which ones were.
Agreed. There hasn't really been any surprises. Suros, Red Death, Bad Juju. Is it Last Word?
Yeah, Last Word is a year 2.
Last Word. Truth, Thunderlord. I think that's about it.
Yeah. What do you think of the weapons so far in year 2?
They're nice. They've got a lot of potential. It's a little rough, using some really nice exotic gear before and really nice legendary gear, where you had very quick reloads and you really knew the feel of those guns, to step back to, say, a rare gun. Mm-hmm. And, the reload is just excruciatingly long in that. But then you're just dropping, say, a Cabal or a Wizard or something in, 3 or 4 shots. You realize that this gun, is very powerful and is what you need to be using. I'm just looking forward to those very nice, crisp handling weapons that haven't achieved yet.
I've been lucky so far. I got a pistol that kind of replaces my Fatebringer for the moment, where it has Third Eye perk, which is nice, and then it has the Outlaw modifier, which is one of my favorite, not just for the name of it. It's quite good. I'm pleased with it so far. Then I have a sword, of course.
Yeah, tell them how you got the sword.
So the sword, everybody can get it. It's just one of the quests. I think it just pops up, and you have to go get the Hadium flakes from the Dreadnought, and you have to go get them from the chests in the Dreadnought. There's only one of the materials in each chest. So usually you'd find like 3 relic iron, 3 spirit bloom, or whatever in the chest. There's only one in each chest. You need 25 to complete that particular quest, which is kind of annoying. But if you go in the mausoleum, there's like 6 chests in there, and you just have to run through, grab them, go back to orbit, come back, and go check them again, and they'll continue to do that. Took me probably about 20 to 30 minutes to do it. I know there's a video on Polygon of how to do it faster. I could not get that to work for me, and I imagine it'll be patched really quickly as soon as they find out people are doing it.
Somebody was basically doing the loot chest type thing where they would run back and forth, back up a stairwell or something, and then the chest would respawn.
It's the same premise as the prior loot cache tricks, where you basically leave the area before the chest despawns, and the game doesn't register that it was despawned in that area. So there's a specific stairwell where you're transferring between areas from the mausoleum to the founts, and the chest is right there at the end. So you grab that chest, run down the stairs and run around the corner, and you're in the new area, and then you run back and just do that over and over and over again. And if you do it fast enough, you can continue to get that chest. And the dude did it for a few hours, or for half an hour, he said, and he had like 80 of the Hadium flakes and a bunch of runes and a couple of legendary engrams.
But it didn't work for you. You tried it. You found
I tried
the spot.
it once. I did it, and then I ran back, but I think I did it too slow, and the chest hasn't come back for me yet. So I just did it the traditional way of going through, grabbing the flakes, going to orbit, coming back.
Doing it again.
Yeah, it's not too bad, though. It's only 25, so it only took me about 5 or 6 times going back to orbit to get it done.
So you didn't get a sword drop?
Negative, no. Because remember, the swords don't drop, supposedly. They are forged. So the Crucible dude gives you a material, and then you have to refine it with these flakes and with the motes of light, and then you're able to grab a sword. But that's their version of forging it looks like.
Ah, okay.
And then the swords have void, solar, or arc damage. And then whichever one you have, They all do a shield mechanism where you hold the left trigger to shield you from damage. But if you have an arc sword, it is, viable against solar and void damage, but it doesn't work as well against arc damage. So whatever damage it is, it's less likely to block it. Therefore, when you're picking your sword, you should make sure that you kind of take a little bit of time and think about what type of enemies are going to be shooting at me, what type of damage should I have the sword be so I can properly block it. I picked a Void because it seemed to me like, we're seeing a lot of Cabal and we're seeing a lot of Hive stuff.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to be seeing lots of Arc and a lot of Solar. So the Void one will block those and not so much Void. So if I come up against an Ogre, I may be in trouble, but we'll see.
That is one thing you just kind of mentioned. I haven't seen a lot of Fallen. It's kind of like we've had a Fallen overload recently with those characters.
Well, it seems like the Cabal are attacking the Dreadnought, trying to take it over, and they just kind of rammed into the ship, I guess, because that's how they roll. They're just big. That's how they mess around. They destroy planets just for getting in their way.
Yes.
So the Cabal are there fighting them, and then the Hive are essentially the spawn of Oryx, so they'd be friendly with the Taken. So there'd be no reason for him to try to, overtake the Hive. So that's why we're seeing them there.
Yeah, no reason. Vex. So no Vex and no Fallen.
Yeah, just the Taken versions of the Fallen and the Vex, which we've seen.
Oh yeah, true.
But yeah, no proper Vex or proper Fallen really. I'm sure there'll be some in the quests for a bit, but nothing, not like actual enemies like that. Yeah.
So what's your summary of Taken King, Jeremy?
Summary of the Taken King is you got to play it, man. You got to play it. It's a lot of fun so far. I like having the new weapons, and it's really fresh to get excited about commons and uncommons and rares. And I mean, now I'm at the point now where it's legendaries or go home, which was exactly how it was before. So I knew that was coming. Now it's all about getting the gear to get to the raid, so we can tackle that. And I really am going to set a goal for us to do the raid without watching a video. I want to just learn it. I want to try it from the beginning.
I'm down with that.
We've got to do it.
Yep.
So if anybody else is into that and doesn't want, the hard part is going to be finding a fire team of people who are interested in doing it the same way. I want to figure it out. Even if it takes us 3 weeks to figure it out, I still want to do it. And I'm excited for that raid. I want to see the gear that comes out of it. I want to get all the new weapons. I want to find all the new exotics. I want to explore the Dreadnought some more. I think we got some content to work through. I mean, I've got 2 screens full of quests right now, of like 32 quests. Yeah.
I want this new content to last months. I don't want to go out and just Google everything and learn every last little trick. Okay, you need to go this chest, and pick up this item to do this. I want it to take time. I want to, discover this stuff myself and get through it. I will be looking stuff up, of course, but just like you said with the raid, let's just do the raid ourselves. Let's just go through it. We didn't do any videos for Skolas, did we?
We tried to, but they were all pre-nerf.
Oh, with the burns and stuff like that, and the guys who just go in and wreck them. But yeah, no, we had to figure it out ourselves, and I don't know. There's a sense of accomplishment, and I mean the thing to remember. It is what's fun in the game is playing it. And if you so quickly gorge on the game that you get to the point where you've got all the best gear and everything else, it just kind of like, okay, all right, well, I guess I'm done now. I mean, that's where we were getting very quickly in the, pre-Taken King with the Fallen. Just going through all that sort of stuff. But, there's a lot to just going out and having fun and taking your time with it. And, I do not care if I am the first or the 10 millionth to complete the raid.
Yeah. Prior to this, it was Tuesday morning. We figure out what the weekly reset is. Oh, okay, it's this with this burn. Okay, cool. Then we go home on Tuesday and we burn through that stuff in 25 minutes. All right, see you next Tuesday. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no point.
Should we do any raids? I'm burned out on raids. Okay, well.
The only time we're doing raids is when we're backpacking other people, trying
True.
to, friends and family, trying to get them through the raid.
True.
To get them their, moments of triumph or whatever weapon they were looking for. It was funny that we were trying so hard to get those weapons. Like I was like, I really want to get Vision of Confluence, even if I don't care. I really want Vision of Confluence. And now I'm like, that would have been such a waste.
It's completely worthless. I mean, when you've got a common, or not a common, but an uncommon weapon that is stronger than the Vision of Confluence. Mm-hmm. I mean, it doesn't handle as well. It doesn't have as many perks. But when it is just mowing guys down like nobody's business, you just, why?
I really want to see some elemental primaries.
Yes, I hope we see those too with some legendary, and I'm sure they're going to be hard to come by. But yeah, those are gold.
Well, the only legendary primaries prior were exotics. There was only like 2. How many?
No, there were a few out there.
The exotics, though.
Oh, exotic primary. Oh, yeah.
Vex Mythoclast, Necrochasm.
There's another one.
Can't think of...
Your hand cannon. No?
That's not an exotic, that was legendary.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess
the legendaries, there was a few. They were all raid weapons, though. Either, Fatebringer, Fang of Uriad, Vision of Confluence, and your, Atheon's Epilogue.
Yep.
Your Word of Crota, all of those, they were all raid weapons that had the elemental. I wonder if we're going to see that again.
Well, I mean, there's having a good legendary gun in a lot of ways is way better than having an exotic. Yeah. I mean, exotics, they add that spice to the sauce, but your build is all around legendary.
Yeah. Well, prior to this, the best part about having a primary legendary was that you could use Galley in your exotic slot.
Yeah.
That was really
yeah,
the main purpose. And now, I don't know. I mean, we have, 3 heavies that we figured out besides the swords?
No, it was Truth and Thunderlord. That's it.
And then Sleeper Simulant. The new fusion rifle deal in the Jigger.
On Bungie's website, they've got a list of quote-unquote all of the exotic gear, but just like you pointed out, the Sleeper Simulant is not on that list. So I think there's plenty of other stuff out there, and maybe just raid specific gear, something. It's not all there, but at the moment the only heavy is Truth and Thunderlord. That's it in Taken King.
And then, real quick, we ordered the collector's edition here for the office for decoration. The physical copy of the collector's edition.
Yes.
So we got a cool Metal Strange coin, a copy of Treasure Island with Cade 6's notes in it.
Yeah.
And there's a Tex Mechanic patch, an Earth sticker.
There's that cool little poster
of Sleeper Simulant.
Sleeper Simulant. It's on a very unusual paper. It's kind of
fuzzy.
Yeah, well, for those of you out there that go hiking and there's that waterproof paper that's actually some type of unusual plastic. That's what it reminds me of. So it's tear-proof, if you will, even though I'm not about to, try that theory out.
Yeah, and then that was about it in the actual collector's edition, and then it came with the physical disc. And then it codes to download the DLCs, which was odd. I thought they would put that all on a disc, which you expressed your feelings about that as well.
Yeah, agreed. I would have thought it would be like a Taken King disc that had it all on it. But no, it's just the original game. And then, a code to grab all the DLCs. Definitely on the collector's edition. Really do like the new shader.
Yes.
And the new emote. All very cool.
So I pre-ordered the Taken King pretty much right after the pre-orders went live, I think. And so I paid the $40 then for the DLC of the Taken King. And then on the Xbox here in the office, you purchased the collector's edition digital content pack.
Yes.
So when I signed into that last week, I found an exotic and it had a shader and all that stuff, not realizing that they were from the collector's edition. And then when I went home and turned on the Xbox, I wasn't able to use that stuff anymore because I didn't have it. So I ended up purchasing it yesterday first thing in the morning when they released it, I paid the $20, $21.34 with tax here in our locale or whatever, however they do that. Is it worth it? I don't know. I wanted the emote. I wanted to do the sprinkler with my hunter, and I wanted the shader.
For me, I guess you get the Sparrow too, and that's
no. The Sparrow was a year one.
Was it?
Yeah, that was just a year one thing for pre-ordering.
The shader though with the collector's edition, at least for the Warlock, is really
because
cool.
it's black and blue. Ours, Hunter's black and purple. Titan's black and orange.
The Warlock with that shader is really very epic. It's very cool. So, $20 for that. Is it the wisest purchase on the planet? No. Is it fun? Yes.
It's like they said in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. If you have the means, I highly recommend it. Yes. So if you have an extra $20 and you feel like it, throw it at the collector's edition, whatever. If you want to spite Bungie, don't do it, whatever. There's a lot of hoopla about that. I don't really care. I just wanted that stupid shader.
Yep. Yep.
I guess we're going to keep playing the Taken King all week and for here until eternity, basically, is what it feels like. We're going to be playing Destiny. So we will be back next week with the updates on anything else that we've learned, anything that Bungie releases, or whatever else we can have to tell you.
We'll see if we can come up with some more, basically information about the game, things that we've figured out, and we'll pass them on to you guys.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, guys. Like I said at the beginning, my name is Jeremy Wright. My gamer tag is IT Outlaw, and that is my username on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as Xbox Live. Feel free to contact me or get in touch with me on any one of those mediums.
And I'm Dan Stanford, and I go by Mutant Entree.
And as always, this podcast is brought to you by FrontPoint IT, Utah's premier managed service provider. Find us online at frontpoint-it.com. Thanks for listening, and have a fantastic week.
Have a good week.